You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 22, Savage Dragon, Issues 14 and 15.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast Retro, the show that wishes that its baby boy would just make time for its dear old mother. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And you're listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, where we talk about the past issues of Savage Dragon, Freak Force, Savage Dragon related things. We take you back to the past to read the kick-ass comics that don't suck ass. That kind of worked, I guess.
Yeah, you said ass twice. You rhymed ass with ass. That means you're a real rapper.
By modern standards, that means I'm a great rapper. Yeah, and we've got a treat-a-rooney for you today. We're reading a little double, it's a little mini arc, Possessed, Savage Dragon 14 and 15. I'm excited.
This is a pretty good arc, from my recollection. It is probably one of the more iconic Dragon moments of these early issues.
Yeah.
It is really cool to revisit it, especially since I forgot, like, a major thing happens right in the middle of this, which one of the coolest fights in the entire series.
Yeah. What's funny is we'll get into it, but like, yeah, there's just parts where this is so old that I just completely forgot. So I'm reading this and I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. I totally forgot about this. So yeah, man, pretty exciting stuff. Why don't we just go ahead and get into it?
So the beginning of this issue 14 of Savage Dragon, I got confused because I couldn't remember if this had already happened before. And the answer to that question turned out to be yes. This is Frank as not Wally, Lurch has appeared before Overlord before and gotten his ass blasted away before, back at the end of issue 12. So that's a cool bit of an iteration.
Yeah, it's a real cool story device. I think it's everyone when they read that for the first time was like, "What?"
even Overlord.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And of course, the actual first page of this issue is a callback to issue. What was it? Is it 10? What was 12. What was the Overlord fight issue?
I thought it was 12.
Might have been wrong. No, it's not. 12 is when the first return of Lurch. Okay. The actual. Nope, that's Jimbo. Clicking around. Nope, that's Super Patriot.
This is what people come to us for. This is a good, This is a
high
quality podcast.
I really should have had a whole stack of comics in front of me instead of Okay, it was issue number 7. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Splash issue.
The first page of that issue has both Dragon and Frank coming up the elevator, in the black background with a bunch of red caption boxes. And in this one, Frank is in the same position, but Dragon is absent, which is, again, a nice bit of reiteration. Speaking of captions, there is a lot of them in these next couple issues. Very unique. You don't see this very much in Savage Dragon anymore, with getting inside of Dragon's head is that much.
Yeah, Eric definitely got his McFarlane on in these ones. lots of narration.
I mean, The other cool thing too is, you know, 2 new supervillains we haven't seen, Morgor and what's the other guy's name? Can't think of it off the top of my head. Like Livewire or something. Is it?
He Undermined. It's Undermined.
Undermined, yeah. Morgor, remember, like, as he goes on, he's the guy that always says dork, you dork. For some reason. I don't even remember why.
Well, he says spooky here.
Yeah.
But then
he's a cool looking visual.
What's funny about Morgor is that, like, didn't he just only ever, like, have appearances, and then all of a sudden he just shows up in that one issue way down the road, and he's just like a total fucking badass in that issue?
I actually don't recall.
Yeah, he's like just always in the background, kind of.
Yeah, I think like he's kind of a background guy right up until he's just like fucking slicing the hell out of Malcolm for whatever reason.
Well, he's like he's kind of like light, not Hellraiser, because he got all those spikes and blades and stuff, and the robot eyes. Yeah.
He's got like that metal jaw thing going on.
And Sandman hair.
Yes, Sandman hair. Or does a crow have that kind of hair?
The crow's hair is more like Brandon Lee's, like in the movie. Like they did a really good job.
Yeah,
but both of these guys are like that,
where they just always show up in the background.
Yeah, Undermine too. He doesn't really do. He does stuff in like Savage Dragon Destroyer Duck in the one shot, but that's about it, really.
What a time to shine!
I gotta say, Lurch getting all stretchy and then like going berserk with all the faces. It's some really interesting like body horror stuff that I don't think we see as much of in Savage Dragon anymore.
Dude, I love it. And what's funny is that is a panel that my mind had completely wiped.
What, the Mr. Fantastic stretch there, or the one where he's both. Like Slender Manning on the ground crawling?
Both, like the creepy Slender Man crawl, the multiple heads. Like I had just completely wiped this sequence out of my mind. And,
even getting blasted out the window, that like weird entanglement.
It's awesome, man. I completely forgot about this.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
All right.
When did Savage Dragon become porn?
Well, you see, Jim, Eric was desperate, and so he started doing porn because he was desperate, you know, and that's when.
It's quite a flip of the page, though, especially probably back then, you know, 1994, when you're like, you know, whatever, teenager, and you flip that page, you're like, what?
Bro, Rapture's Sidewinder. That's the technical term if we perverts out there, you rookie perverts. Rapture's Sidewinder was like risky business as a kid. I was like, God damn, I can't let anybody see me reading this.
Looking at this picture of side boob.
Yeah. And butt crack. Ooh.
But it is funny, Jim, like you said, like people like up in arms about, you know, this sexual situations in Savage Dragon.
It's just it just struck me as funny because this is more titillation, whereas the sex people complain about is definitely more unsexy comedy sex.
Right.
It's like, dude, where have you all been? This has always been here.
Thank fucking God that we're having this conversation here, because like, bro, that was the exact same thing I thought when this. It was like Rapture grabbing the titty up, like, you know, up for seconds. It's like, dude, like that's going for sexy. Like Maxine flying across the room, Brappa Lorch, that's comedy.
Yeah,
obviously.
This is 18 years ago.
Yeah.
No.
Is it? No?
It's longer.
It's 28.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Jesus.
The 90s are 10 years behind us, right, guys?
Yep. Craig lost a decade.
That's scary.
We'll bring it up, like, not to foreshadow too much, but like it's funny because Eric has a letter in the end of his issues here where he's like, oh, and congratulations on our first son, Carl. Or, you know, I forget. Like,
Christopher?
Christopher. But like the thing is that like in this issue, Christopher's just born. On Facebook as of this recording, his younger yet to even have been born son Joe just finished college
and moved out.
and moved out.
And Eric is an empty nester now.
Yeah, I'm just like, God.
Full circle.
I'm reading these comics and I'm like, God damn! I hyper-aged reading that. I was like, oh no! I turned into mummy dust reading this issue.
You know, you forget, with Maxine as promiscuous as she is, how promiscuous Rapture is as well.
Yeah, I didn't forget with Rapture, though. She's pretty strong on there.
Well,
and that's kind of cool with, like, the female characters in Savage Dragon.
Here's the thing. This is what's great. Is that the characters who are that way. And then you have other characters who are, like, just totally normal and don't have any... They're not, like, super frisky business. They're just normal people. And it's like, guess what? That's
it's
how
weird.
you have the...
It's weird, though, because it's funny how Dragon and Rapture are like horn dogs, and Malcolm isn't. I mean, he'll go for it, but he'll take it or leave it sometimes.
Even Dragon's here is kicking her off the bed.
Yeah, but that's work.
Like, well, because of the beeper. Well, no, eventually he's like, enough already. Like, that's before the beeper. Like,
oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, even he's like, nah, dude, I'm good. I'm good. Dude, I've become painfully aware of Dragon's beeper. Like...
Oh, yes.
Like, I don't know. It just never was a thing that really, like... Obviously, I guess some of these I read way less than others. But, like, I just forgot how much his beeper got mentioned there in the beginning.
The pose of them running down the hallway, I always thought was quite iconic.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Also, we get a little peek of someone in the shadowy corner with red eyes. Who could it be?
Oh, Mrs. Harris that lives across the hall. Oh,
spoiler alert.
Guys, I just want to say, here's another funny thing about, like, Dragon being a dirty, like, having adult humor. You coming, no, but the thought of seeing you in action is getting me pretty worked up. That's a good sex joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying,
that
like...
probably went right over my little head in...
Oh, I didn't read it.
1994.
Bro, I didn't even get it until just, like, today reading it. I was like, ooh! Static. What a funny little, like, listen, okay. This is the kind of stuff I love about Savage Dragon. What a funny little throwaway gag or line or concept that Rapture keeps her costume on with static electricity. Yeah, whether it's a serious thing or not, it's just funny.
It is an outrageous superhero suit.
Yeah, this is a good splash page flip. Just this, like, woo.
Ooh, it's Star and Vanguard. All your favorites are here.
Yeah, dude.
I love that the punch is so powerful that it's like a bright flash.
Screw. Light is coming from the punch.
That's true. You know what, Craig? It's one of those things you never really think about. But in Savage Dragon, punching stuff is bright. And maybe that's something that I don't see other comics do.
I think it makes it look dynamic. I mean, it's just a little...
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but it's awesome.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like in Tekken. You know how Tekken you have hit sparks? Street Fighter also?
Yes.
It's boom! You know, like the explosion comes off of it.
It's just like a little shorthand for, I don't know, a visual medium, you know?
What I like is the colorist has really leaned into that because, like, you can see through Dragon's glasses on the other page. That one kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Because even by the bottom of the page, you can't.
I think that's the only panel I've ever seen his eyes through the glasses.
Yeah. I think so, too. I was really, like, thinking, I was like, huh. Have you ever seen...
It looks odd, kind of. Those glasses just look odd, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what the deal with these glasses are because they turn up a lot early on. I don't know if it was a popular style, but I don't think
it ever was.
I don't think glasses with a crossbar across the top ever looked cool.
Or round, just round glasses.
Yeah.
Man,
Unless you're John Lennon.
He's a little Clark Kent.
I will say it's probably used as a device here to tell the difference between him and the doppelganger.
Right up until they get knocked
Because
off.
once they get smashed off, then then Lurch gets the stars shot at him, so you can still tell the difference.
Right.
He must have put them on in the car. When they're running down the hallway, he doesn't have them on. And then, like, when they show up, he's like, "Oh, let me put on my distinct glasses, just in case." Good Lord!
It's so he can, he can see when people are punching.
So what you're saying is that this scene would have, in general, been better had Lurch turned into Dragon, pulled the glasses off of him, grabbed them both by the head, and mixed them up Shell Game style, and then Rapture and Star wouldn't have known who was the real Dragon.
Sure. We'll go with that.
I suppose this is the first Dragon versus Dragon fight.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, okay, here it is. We joke about the evil twin. There's even the cover. It's come to this, evil twins, in like issue 99 or whatever. But dude, it came to that way back in 1993 or 94.
Yeah, for about a page and a half. Then we get a little bit more of that body horror after Lurch gets zapped and suddenly he's got 3 different arms.
Is that not fucking awesome?
Yeah, it's pretty
Again,
cool.
I had just forgotten that. I'd completely forgotten that. It's a cool visual. I love Dragon with all the stars. Yeah, Lurch Dragon with all the stars just poking out of his back. Good stuff, man. It's just funny, like that. OK does it. Like for some reason, this fight against Lurch, just this whole issue, just completely like wiped out of my memory or something. Because I feel like this panel, the OK Does It panel, where he's just blasting Lurch, the mess of like body horror Lurch up into the foreground. I just feel like, shouldn't that be a more referenced panel by like Dragon fans? That's an awesome panel.
There's a lot going on the next, this last half of the book, with Vanguard coming back and collecting Lurch, and then you have like She-Dragon kind of lurking. I forgot how long She-Dragon's hair was, which it's almost ridiculous.
Yep. Oh, do you guys not have the poster?
Yeah,
I
the
do.
poster. It's like kind of the sneak peek of the upcoming Deadly Duo series.
Yeah, Andy Smith, right.
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Maybe I don't. Let me flip through here. Oh, no. Someone got my poster.
Someone took it out?
I don't have one. Oh, well, no, dude.
Is your issue a newsstand copy with a barcode?
It's glossy.
Huh, weird.
I got.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
There's an Andy Smith Kill Cat and Kid Avenger poster in there. And I guess this is his first appearance of Kid Avenger.
Oh, I gotta write that down. I'm learning right here. Dear listener, I'm learning in real time that my collection's a fraud. Get Savage Dragon 14 with poster. Holy cow. All right, cool. One more thing to get.
Yeah, the other guy that shows up here is it Dale Fisher, Alex's boyfriend, who's kind of like the weirdest character.
Yeah,
he like shows up, he kind of lingers. I feel like Eric maybe got bored with him. He plays that bigger role back, after in the Savage world, but I forgot that he showed up so early in this series.
Yeah, it is an interesting bit of continuity, especially based on like when I came into Savage Dragon, I got in during the Savage world, and what was he called? I think the problem was he got named two different things. He's either Demolisher or Demolition.
Yeah,
or something. Like Eric got the name wrong.
It was a Demolisher, but then it changed.
Yeah.
Or something.
But you're right. He shows up here, and he shows up a little bit. I guess just to have Alex be with somebody while Dragon's with Rapture. And then
yeah, it's like he's super into Alex, but she still kind of is like.
Yeah.
I think he's jealous of Dragon, right?
Right. We'll get to that eventually, but it's just he's such a footnote, and yet he does tie into the whole situation where during the Savage World events of the Possession arc, of course he kills Alex, and then Dale gets pissed about it because Dale's around at the time.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to finally meet him.
Like I said, I forgot he showed up so early.
Because he's just a big blonde fireman.
His introduction's so funny. Oh, I'm just going to conduct CPR, bring this guy back to life. How you do?
Yep, I'm a hero.
Hey, I'm Dale. Let's get some coffee or something.
Yeah, in case you didn't notice, I just saved that guy's life.
You think that works? on a cop?
We do get a nice nod of continuity here, where Rapture tells Dragon that she and Freak Force have got some secret government thing going on, which I believe ties directly into the events going on in Freak Force issues 8 and 9, with that little jaunt to South America, I think.
The ants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotta go fight some robot ants. See ya.
It is an interesting way to get Freak Force out of the city for this upcoming arc.
Yeah, like you said, that's kind of like a nice... I mean, remember that I haven't read Freak Force until we started doing these retros. So for me, this was always just a little like throwaway line. And I was like, okay, convenient. Freak Force isn't around. And then like, nah, they were doing something. Like, they had an adventure taking place in another country. Like, it's kind of cool.
I love like the panels, like when that panel was talking about Rapture on the phone. She's got like her finger wrapped around the cord.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to think like it's such a cool little like thing because it could just draw her just on the phone, but you know what I mean, just like a little nod. That's what people do when they talk on the phone, you know. But the other funny thing is, like, if I showed my kids this panel, they wouldn't even really understand that.
Remember, phones had cords.
Yeah,
and that cord is going to the wall.
And it looks like a phone. Now it'd look like an old-fashioned phone to people.
They would think, your kids would think she was on one of those Playmobil play phones.
Yeah, right. What is that?
It's even red. Like, that's what's so funny.
We stayed in a hotel last year, and we got a phone call from the lobby, or from another room, maybe. I forget. I think it was my in-laws from another room, and my daughter didn't know how to talk into the phone. Like, she didn't know which to put her to her ear or anything. You know, she's just used to like a block phone. You know,
it's true. Phones don't have microphones that are visible anymore.
Yeah,
it's kind of insane, actually.
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah, I love that pose. Again, it's funny. You think about like taking the opportunity to just work the whole panel for no reason. Didn't have to have her arm out there like that playing with the cord, but he did it.
Yeah, I also like really enjoy that. Rapture is an African American woman, and Eric, just draws her like very like sexy and good looking. It's like refreshing for comics of that time, I think.
I mean, and from day one, like think about like Frank, who is not just some like background dude. He's like super fucking important. He's a guy who gets Dragon going on the path to crime fighting, gives him a place to live, etc.
It's just like a cool thing that like Dragon's always been like just had lots of different characters, you know what I mean? Yeah. Not just like white heroes or white people. Just,
as it should in a city. Like as it should in a city, dude. Even as small as Pittsburgh is compared to like say Chicago. Like, dude, the minute my ass got into Pittsburgh, I was like, whoa. I'm seeing like humanity that I never thought I'd see. Like, holy cow. And that's just Pittsburgh. Like, of course there should be a ton of diversity in Chicago. Yeah.
Remember, what's her name? This woman.
Miss Schwartzblatt, yeah.
So this is like the resolution to that. Well, I think we'll see her one more time. But we finally learn who Rodney is.
Yeah, you mean it's not really Dragon?
Oh, I just love the gag of how much Rodney does look like Dragon.
Yeah,
and not just the mohawk. He's got the same facial structure.
If he was colored green, dude, he'd look
exactly. He's not. It's not a crazy. It's not that crazy of a likeness.
Would you say that Schwartzblatt is a Jewish last name?
Oh yeah,
or sounds Jewish
for sure.
It's kind of funny because it's like that's his last name, and then he's just hanging around with some Nazi dude.
Or the Nazi knows his mom. Hey, dude, isn't that your mom?
Sitting in that disgusting apartment.
Fucking flies. Just flies around him. It's like,
oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah,
just beer cans everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was just fucking hilarious. Here's this guy who just looks identical to your series lead.
Something that you don't notice until you turn the page, but Frank Darlin, when he gets that call from Dragon, and you look in the background, it's just dark clouds. And it's just setting the tone.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you flip the page and Skullface is there. It's hi, Frankie, and you see the lightning in the clouds. It's really like a tone setter there. It's like you can almost visualize it like a movie,
Dude, you're right. You're right. It is a very dramatic moment, but I just can't help but focus on the grimace on Frank's face and how exaggerated it is. It's great. I love it.
He's just been found by Fred's murderer, so he's pretty scared. I think it's okay. I agree, Craig. We're doing the Savage FINcast 30th anniversary reread, and something that I didn't really even think about until we started doing the reread is that, Savage Dragon's kind of cinematic for a comic. It's kind of really in these early ones especially, where there's not really super fantastical stuff happening, where it's just people at docks and people in warehouses and people in police precincts. It's kind of even the scene transition where Rodney makes the joke, oh yeah, I should give my mom a call, and then the next panel's Frank on a phone being go on.
Yeah,
that's that's a jump cut.
It's good transitions.
Yeah, that's a good jump cut. Kind of jump cut comedy, for a TV show that would really work. Right. And then, like you said, just the foreshadowing of the clouds, and then you fucking turn the page, and then it's
I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of context because I never read a lot of comics of this era, so I don't know what other comics were like at this point compared to Dragon.
Well, here's what I'll say.
I feel like they were like this. I mean, I read a lot in the 90s, and
here's what I'll say. I will say this. I didn't get to read a lot of comics in the 90s, just money. But, I will say that I feel, maybe I'm wrong. Help me out, people who read more comics here, Craig, Jim.
Well, good.
But I was just going to say, I am very painfully aware of Warren Ellis pushing what they were calling widescreen action in the Authority.
Right.
And then that translated over to the Ultimates,
and that's then, after this.
Yeah, that's a lot later. That's
what I was. That's what I was going to say. Because that's way after.
I think it's the Frank Miller effect.
Yeah,
Eric read a lot of Frank Miller comics.
Yeah, I'm mostly only familiar with Dark Knight Returns, and I can make that. There's a very big
Sin
similarity
City,
of
Dark
its structure.
Knight, Daredevil.
Yeah, I've not read enough of the Daredevil or Year One and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Like I said, my only point of reference is Dark Knight, and Dark Knight had very similar sort of cinematic style. But it's interesting because when you think about cinematic style, you kind of associate it with not deconstruction. What's the word?
Decompression.
Decompression, and there's definitely not decompression going on here.
except for when he wants. Like this genius sequence where it's a single page of him exploring the warehouse as a leech falls on his neck.
Right.
It's decompressed, but it's decompressed within a single page.
Is it decompressed? Because when I think decompressed, I think fewer panels.
Well,
I just think fewer words, faster pace.
Yeah, like kind of like Tom Scully's GoBots has a shit ton of panels, but like not a lot of words. And
right.
So like you might see a page with like 20 fucking panels on one
weird
page.
because when I see stuff like that, I think it's the opposite of decompression. It's
compressed.
Oh, well, sorry, the word escaped me. I had it. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I guess it's because I see more panels as the way the comic creator like causes your eye to slow the hell down, so you don't blast over a page like with a glance.
It's words.
Because
I think it's word. I think like an Alan Moore book is full of compressed story. You know, like it's just too much. Or a Todd McFarlane. You know, I don't know. I don't think it was so much as panels as how much it is to read.
I think words are really, for me anyway.
But it's probably a combination, and I don't know.
I will just say that I think that this is like a goddamn badass.
Density was the word I was trying to think of. I see this as high density, with the number, not just number of panels, but also the actual sequence itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just in my mind, when I think decompression, I think of pages like a lot of double page spreads where not actually a lot is happening. Like you can have a decompressed book where you have like a lot of double page spreads with like no dialogue or minimal dialogue. Like I think Ultimates did that quite a bit. Where
I know, like on this scene where it's like 16 panels, you could basically do 3 panels, have them kick down the door, walk in, look up or something, and the thing fall on them. You know,
right?
But it is amazing when you look at how he did the layout with like it is, it's almost like watching a movie because you're getting the different camera angles. You know, you're looking up at the rafters, from down on the floor, and then you're looking down on the floor from up in the rafters. I mean, it's just pretty cool. It's like, I don't know, you can just feel the motion.
And what's cool about it is even though it may not initially seem that he's directing your eye to where the action is, it totally is, because every panel is directing you further up to where the leech is. But
yeah,
and then it drops just down.
It's the tone too, because you don't know what's happening here. At this point, we don't know a leech is going to fall on him. You know, we know something's lurking. Is he going to run into octopus or whatever? And so, like, just by your eyes scanning around, you're seeing him walk down this weird empty hall. You're seeing, like, again, up in the rafters, is there something up there? Is there something down there looking at him? Because now the view is looking down on him. Like, what is going on? And then you see the thing fall, It's just neat.
Do you think Eric was a fan of Night of the Creeps?
Is that the one with the stuff in the yogurt or whatever?
No, that's the stuff.
It's the stuff. Oh,
the stuff,
right.
yeah.
Night of the Creeps was, I think...
Is it like those
worms.
Slugs, yeah. Like brain-controlling slugs.
I think
I don't know.
Later there was a movie called Slither, which was the similar thing.
Yeah, Slither was like leaned into it. What's funny is Night of the Creeps, it seems like zombies, but it's like brain slugs.
Yeah.
But like Slither had slugs like right on the cover. Night of the Creeps is 1986. I'm just saying. Do you think he liked it? Do you think he was a fan?
I'll be honest, I don't know what Eric's movie tastes like, if he watches horror films or not.
He does. He's one of he was like, oh, my favorite movies is like, I forget the name of it, some 70s horror movie with kind of fish people in
fish people. What?
Yeah, it's a really bad D movie.
What?
We'll ask him. Yeah, it's funny.
I know
Because
what
I
he
wouldn't have
hates.
expected it.
I know he hates Last Starfighter. Like, he talks about it all the time. Like, back when he had a Twitter, it'd just be a random, like, Tuesday, and he'd be like, you know what, I fucking hate Last Starfighter. Never will like it. And I'm like,
mean,
what?
To be
Again?
fair, I've also never cared for Last Starfighter.
You just racist against aliens.
No, just Last Starfighter.
I'm surprised they haven't remade that movie yet.
They're trying.
I'm sure they
Jesus
are.
Christ.
Yeah. The thing is that it was a movie that was ahead of its time because it's about trailer trash playing a video game, and he accidentally is auditioning to save the universe. I'm sorry, that's good. But back to the Savage Dragon.
Disagree to agree. So back to the worm thing. While I don't know what horror films may have inspired it, I do know it's inspired heavily by the Captain Marvel villain, Mr. Mind, who is also a mind-controlling worm.
Yes, and I will say that I absolutely love how, like, if he's not a horror fan, brother, he's got it. Like, this is horror. This sequence of him going in the warehouse and getting possessed is horror. Like, perfect. It kind of makes you be like, dude, I wish Eric had time. I know he doesn't, but, like, I wish Eric had time to do a one-shot horror comic just to see.
So the movie I was thinking of that he said he liked was Humanoids from the Deep, which is a super cheesy 1980s horror movie.
I've never even heard of that, dude. Humanoids from the Deep?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any star to it at all?
No, absolutely not.
Is it better than Hell Comes to Frogtown?
No, because Roddy Piper's in Hell Comes to Frogtown, so that automatically gets my vote.
Yeah, you automatically have 1 star. So it's better. I don't know about you guys, but mine has an ad for the Deadly Duo #1.
Oh, it's the best ad.
I can't believe I see Peter David and John Burns' names. I'm so excited.
Dude, how cool. He had the best ads back in the day because they were so snarky.
Yeah. Funny as hell, dude.
Peter David
John
and John.
Burns. Nothing to do with this comic. Funny as shit. It's good stuff, man.
Yep, we're gonna have to look into when that came out and figure out when to cover it because it's here or it's soon, so that means it's time to cover it.
I also forgot that Gru switched over to Image for a while.
Yeah, back cover. Yeah, I had also forgotten about that. Gru switched around a lot though. It was at Epic at first, I think. Then it went to I don't know if it went to Image next and then Dark Horse.
I think so.
But
or vice versa, I don't know.
Yeah, Gru definitely bounced around. I'll be honest, I am not super familiar with Gru. I read
Me
some
either.
of it. I've read some of it. It's just that for some reason it's just never taken to it. You'd think I would, because it's often it's talked about like in the same breath as Usagi Yojimbo.
And it's
Right.
Sergio Argonis. Like, he's a legend.
He is. I mean, I do dig his art. It's just I've never put the time in.
You know what's
Yeah,
funny?
same.
Gru is still getting love too. Like, I think Gru is having a Conan crossover like this month.
Yes, I think that is new.
Yeah, like Gru is still out there and happening. It's weird.
It's a weird comic because it's very popular, and yet I don't know anyone that collected it or reads it.
That's like Cerebus or fucking Usagi Yojimbo. Like, these are things that are like huge, but like good luck finding someone who's like really deep into it.
I feel like in its heyday, I was young and more into just superhero comics and probably just didn't want to give it a chance. And then, I don't know, about now, it's just too much other stuff, and it's just like, seems like it's just kind of gone past. And I'm not a huge Conan or Barbarian comics guy.
And that's kind of what bounced me off of it too. Is it's a Conan type sort of send up, and it's just,
Although I say that, and like Headlopper now is one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, I think we'd all like it. Is what's funny. I think we would all like.
Oh, I'm
Gru.
sure Raven would adore it.
Yep.
It's probably irreverent, much like what you do.
Mm-hmm. Plus, like, just his art. I mean, I don't know Gru, but I do know Mad Magazine.
Yeah, right.
And, like, his shit is awesome, dude. On Mad,
Yeah.
like, all the millions of details. Like, he draw, like, 100 million little guys. Just every different guy's unique. And they're all dying or taking a poop or reading something. Or it's just, like, a million little details.
I will say I did get a Gru sketch from him, like, way back, maybe 20 years ago.
Fake fan.
I know.
I love your work.
Can you draw Wolverine for me?
I don't have much to report from the letters columns, guys. Of note is just that Christopher Richard Larson was born August 22nd, 1994, weighing 8 pounds 4 ounces. So, you'll be happy to know that happened. Eric reproduced.
I wonder how much he weighs now.
Do you really?
No.
I'm going to guess 154 pounds. And no
I'm
ounces.
not going to guess.
I feel bad. I wish that I had dug into these. The Peter David thing has started to boil up. And there's a little bit of that in here.
It begins.
Yeah. That, like, you can see, like, Peter David is mentioned in multiple letters by multiple people. But, like, hey, man, I just... none of these really stood out to me like crazy.
Do the responses about Peter David get longer and longer until that final issue where it's like 3 pages of ranting about Peter David?
Yeah, he's like, all right, let's do this. It's just, like, dedicated. But, yeah, nah, just, sorry. Not too much to report from here. I guess moving right along on to Savage Dragon 15.
Now, this is where things pop off.
Yeah. Well, it's a very interesting issue. It feels weird, is what I'm saying, with all the narration and introductions.
The narration, the introduction, this almost feels like a first issue sort of issue.
I think that's what it is. I think, we're into a year plus, and it's like, hey, new readers, let me catch you up on all these guys, all the players. Because at this point, there's so many players in the book.
Right.
And we're only on issue 15. It's becoming... It's getting to that point, like Eric said in the past, where it's like the other characters end up taking on a lot of the pages out of the book. You only have 20-something pages, and you're getting down to Dragon only being on 5 or 6 of them or something.
Yeah, like what was this quote? I think he said Dragon feels like a guest star in his own book.
I mean, yeah, but I can't really argue with the fact that the book is made better by having a large expanded cast.
I totally agree.
And it's not because Dragon's a bad character. It's just that Dragon's your star. He's your hero. But Dragon's not super interesting as a person. He's a good guy. He's kind of a dick and an asshole. But he's not interesting. He's not a character I want to know more about his hobbies or, like, stuff. So surrounding him with...
I disagree a little bit.
Surrounding him with more interesting people is just better idea, in my opinion.
I disagree a little. Like, I find Dragon interesting because he's kind of an asshole and he's snarky, and I've always found that fun about the character, especially in, like, the issues where he joins, SOS, and he just kind of makes fun of everybody and just kind of puts down, like, costume superheroes.
But that only works when he's surrounded by people.
Yeah, but then he's also got the womanizer aspect, and I don't know. I like his personality, cracks me up. Just the smart-ass guy. But I do agree, though, that having a bunch of other characters also, like, mixes it up and makes it really interesting and makes Dragon a better character to play off of.
Before we move past this, 2 things I just gotta say about this opening thing here. I like when Eric gets a chance to do stuff a little weird and artsy. And I think, like, kind of this pose of Freak Force, like, where Rapture's sitting on the actual literal, like, panel border.
Yeah.
With, like, just Overlord on one panel and Skullface on the other is awesome. It's an awesome layout. I think that Skullface is, like, the scariest he's ever looked And
oh, he's got that one panel. Remember when his eye gets when he gets the eye smashed or whatever? But yeah, whatever.
I don't remember. Is that in the future?
We'll see.
That's next issue, probably.
Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to say, and it's kind of funny because like it'll come up more when we do our Freak Force in a following episode, but like Mighty Man's head just being completely hidden by the cape is a funny visual that looks weird, and it only looks weirder when there's more and more and more of that. Anyway, foreshadowing for a future FinCast.
The weird thing is the wicked worm with like the weird like cosmic energy coming off of it.
Because and what's so funny is it's like obviously we know
that's mind control juice.
Is that mind control juice?
I think it's pretty consistent that mind control is purple in Savage Dragon.
Is it?
I'd have to go check some Brainy Ape scenes, but I think that's consistent.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'll just go with it. I think it looks cool though. It really ties that layout together.
How like I don't know. I don't remember ever like seeing this font. Kind of bugged me out after not reading this issue for a long time. I was like, oh, that's like, is that dragon font?
Yeah, that's what it looks like in his head. You're right though. It is different from somewhat different from the dialogue font.
You know what I wonder? In the miniseries, he meets Spawn, and then the other time where the font kind of looks like this is when Hellraiser holds up the little kid, and he's like, "Please, Mr. Dragon, you wouldn't kill me," and it looks like this same font, like it looks like the exact same font. I'm scrolling right now because that "Please, Mr. Dragon, you wouldn't kill me" here it is. Oh, it looks so similar. It's not. I think Spawn talks in this font. Which is kind of funny with all these narration boxes. You know? Here's the thing is reading this, so it had a lot of this like introductory stuff, which from issue to issue feels funny. But also too, it was kind of cool in a way. I don't know, maybe this is just me. But it kind of felt like Dragon being trapped in his own body and disassociated from what was really going on.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
That's how I took it. So it kind of worked. Like, it was kind of like, yeah, it's a lot of like, hey, this is Howard Niceman. He's not nice. But like, also too, it's like he's disassociating. You know, he's there, but he's also like kind of like disassociating.
So did Dragon kill that cop with that punch?
Yeah.
I
think the black splatter implies that. Yes, of course. If that didn't kill him, blowing up the entire shack in one punch probably did.
Is that not the most powerful we've ever
Fucking hell!
Just explodes a warehouse with a punch.
It's just the way
it was a rickety warehouse. Come on.
How great is that sound effect with the different color?
Yeah.
Framing.
And all the pieces of wood falling in the water, and you could just hear it in your head, like the splashdown.
Doom. That's good, dude. It's awesome. Yeah, it's fucking great.
It's weird great. Panels, too. Like, look at the panel next to the raindrop panel.
Yeah,
it's like
debris.
The water.
Just the water surface. Yeah, you got debris, then you got, like, the, water rain. From... Yeah, and then just still water.
It's just a neat sequence and kind of cool little, I don't know, little artistic.
He trundles into the city.
It's a good word, trundle.
Trundle. Y'all, Captain Stewart, I had just forgot that our boy Captain Stewart was in these early issues.
Well, here's the stupid thing. This is a different Captain
Stewart.
This is a different Captain Stewart with a different mustache. There are two Captain Stewarts and two mustaches.
Hey, man, mustaches are popular, and Stewart is a popular last name.
I hear this guy as Mr. Mayor from Powerpuff Girls when he talks. Are you related to Officer Dragon? Oh my! He's like the way he's like sort of lovingly resting his chin on his hands.
I will tell you, like, having a little caption box and just having a few sentences about each cop and stuff kind of gives you a little snapshot of information, because I'm not sure that all of this was spelled out before.
I don't think it was, especially with guys like Ray.
Yeah. The gossip.
Dragon's the office gossip.
No, Ray's the office gossip.
Oh, Ray's the office gossip.
He's nosy.
I thought you were talking about all these profiles he had on him.
I completely forgot this fight between Skullface and Frank happened in the middle of the story. And this is without a doubt one of the coolest fights in the series, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
For anime fans / Jim, this is Usopp versus a fish man. You know, oh, are you not a One Piece fan?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read that.
You didn't read that one.
Oh, Raven, it's time for the story.
No.
I started reading One Piece at chapter 690.
No, it's fine.
And I have not gone back to read from the beginning.
I forgot.
Because I ain't afraid of no long-running series. Let it be clear. I start Savage Dragon at 90. I start One Piece at 690. I don't give a fuck.
Listeners, that's Jim cutting out like 20 years of One Piece. Like, it's insane. All you need to know that's relevant to this is there's a character in One Piece who just is like fucking a normal guy.
Oh, I know who Usopp is.
Wait.
This
Raven,
is for the listener.
It was the fish man I didn't know.
This is for the listener. This is not for you. I'm just saying, dear listener who might not know One Piece, it's like, how the hell does this relate to Frank versus Skullface? There's a character in One Piece who's just a normal dude.
With the slingshot and a long nose.
Normal dude with a slingshot. And like, there's just these basically super freaks. They don't have any special powers. They're just stronger and faster than normal humans by a lot. And it's just like, you never imagine Usopp able to do shit. Like, he's worthless. And then finally, he has this Batman-like moment where he manages to outwit and defeat a fish man. And he just throws his hands up. And he's like, I beat a fish man. It's the first time he's cool in the whole series. So it's a big deal. And what's funny is the whole time I'm reading Frank fighting Skullface, like, he's just a normal dude, but like, he drives the bus into him. It's so awesome.
The bus panel is the panel. It's awesome. So good.
Yeah.
Hey, where'd Frank go?
Well, it almost reminds me of, like, remember, like, Predator Part 2? Where it's just like, you gotta outsmart, like, the superpowered creature. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's awesome. I mean, this fight is
So you
awesome.
just set little traps.
This fight is awesome.
Have we seen our Richard Richards yet? Demanding pictures of Dragon.
I feel like he had to have showed up before this.
I don't recall him being as prominent at the very least.
Listeners, this is their least favorite thing that we do.
What, not being prepared when we have this Wikipedia right here?
No, where we wonder aloud.
Musings.
Because they're sitting there knowing the answer, and we're like, huh.
Oh, they don't know the answer. Well,
one
guy knows the answer.
Gavin.
All right, so he has appeared.
Yeah, 6 and 8, right?
And yeah, apparently he was in
10.
10. He had a more prominent role, I guess.
As I look at this issue, there's a lot of cool things going on that are kind of feel weird compared to like modern Dragon and like what Eric would do. But like the use of tones, like Zippo tones, like, yeah, he uses them now. But like, look at R.R. Richards' tie.
That is what I call burlap.
Yeah. He's wearing like a burlap sack tie.
I gotta say, it's funny. Eric Clapton, I've always thought looked a lot like Peter Parker, which I suppose might be intentional. So it's fun. So he's funny that he's in this scene.
Well, because we don't know yet that he's not Star, right? So it's
correct.
Like the Spider-Man analog.
He keeps disappearing. How mysterious.
I know. Peter's scared of Star.
Oh, man. Everyone just gets their ass kicked by Dragon, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, slug-powered Dragon is like 1,000,000 times more effective than real Dragon.
Is he? I
mean,
mean,
look at him. He's kicking all this goddamn ass, dude.
I feel like real Dragon would be a lot more deadly, I guess. I don't know. I get the sense that Slug Dragon, at the very least, isn't as... That's what I'm looking for. He's like... He would have killed them all faster if he wasn't possessed, I guess. Or more efficiently.
I'm not talking about, like, versus Kerr. But I'm talking about, like, regular Dragon. Like, Kerr would have killed them all quicker. But, like, I'm talking about regular Dragon versus Slug Dragon.
I just think he's just... Like with She-Dragon, he pops her, like, pretty hard. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's not a really, like, a tactical punch. She just opened herself up really easy. Because she's terrible at this. Because she's terrible.
Speaking of open herself up, how about that panel? Where she's jumping over Dragon's arm. I'm sorry I had to make
What was your
joke.
plan, She-Dragon? We're going to wrap your legs around him like, what's her name? James Bond woman. On the
Pussy
top.
Galore?
No, from GoldenEye.
Okay. No, it is funny because, like, she's trying to, like, I don't know, leap over him or something, and he just fucking decks her in the next panel.
Did, when I read the Phil Dirt caption, I just was like, oh, such a, I guess, a relic of its time, but it just reads so gross.
In a way. I don't
know.
He only acts up to, like, fuck with the bigot. Like, that's kind of cool.
It just seems weird to call it out now.
He's closeted. I mean, hey, we have closeted gays now. Not everybody can be.
But he's not closeted. I mean,
he's not.
That's what Dragon's saying.
Like, feels like he needs to, like, incorporate that into the description of the guy's personality.
Keeps his personal life to himself. Guys, he doesn't just punch Amy. He punches her so hard a building collapses. Like, this is why I feel like Slug Dragon is like unlocking Curb level power or something. You just don't see Dragon punch buildings down and explode warehouses.
Well, he is a public servant.
Oh, well, there you go. You're actually correct. Never mind. I'm a dumbass. That makes perfect sense.
I gotta say,
panel.
I got confused because I didn't remember that Bull McCartney was not Howard Neesman. That they are, in fact, two different people.
They don't feel like two different people.
They sure don't.
I forgot.
No, but Bull is not, like...
a bigot.
He's not a bigot. He's just an asshole. He's like the head of the SWAT team. But he plays, like, a big role. Was it in issue 7?
Yeah, it was his SWAT
Not
team that got fucking nuked. And I think he's the one who wants Dragon arrested for getting all his men killed.
Right.
Then there's Neesman, who gets a full page fucking shot in his giant mouth.
Kill him, kill the bastard.
I love, like, the caption when Dragon's talking about him. He's like, although he's mellowed out a little since we first met.
You know, he's only
he's just
slightly
yelling,
kill the bastard. I think that's the joke.
That's the joke. Yeah, dude, this Frank and Skullface fight is fucking awesome. Like, just bursting up through the bus. It's so good. I almost said like Ghost Dad. Would you guys have gotten that reference?
Kind of. Yes, I had seen Ghost Dad quite a few times when I was younger. I don't remember the bus scene specifically, though.
That's a terrible reference. Yeah, he's just Dragon's just beating the shit out of his coworkers. You know, I think Rita is seriously gets her power levels increased in later issues, if you know what I mean. This is kind of like a more modest Rita.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
We do. William's relationship when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like saving her.
Yeah.
He went from undercover cop to undercover copulation.
Good one.
Poster in this one's great.
So isn't this poster the cover to like a Image Insider issue?
No, it's like a Wizard Image special or something. I think it's Wizard or Hero. I forget.
You know what? I think it's Hero. Now that you say that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like the Hero Image special.
It's hilarious because I got to tell you guys that, like, as a kid, when I saw this, I always thought, I was like, you know, I know Dragon's badass, and Eric, like, was going for badass a lot.
But he's not 80 stories tall. What are you doing here?
I'm just saying, like, goddamn, this is clearly evil.
Oh, yeah.
When you have a bunch of heroes on your giant hand, that is a thing evil people do, right?
Yeah, it's Kerr, see. He's the long game.
I remember seeing this, and I just used to love anytime I saw Eric draw different characters. Mm-hmm. 'Cause I always wanted to see what his version of characters were.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of cool. I think, I could be wrong, but I think this is the only time Eric's ever drawn Cyberforce.
Or Pit.
Or
for
Pit.
that matter.
Pit. Yeah, Pit too. I can't recall anywhere else that he's drawn.
Well, I'm thinking of the Freak Force issue, and yeah, he didn't draw that, did he?
I was going to say, what about Wildcats?
Well, he drew Wildcats.
He did the
in
Wildcats issue.
Wildcats 14. We just
Cyberforce aren't in
covered
there,
that
right?
6 months ago, Raven.
Right.
He did Max, who showed up in the book. Spawn, Youngblood showed up. Badrock and Shaft showed up in the miniseries.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
a bunch of these guys are in Image United.
But
Remember
Eric
that?
didn't draw it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He wouldn't have drawn those images, would he? Never
Yeah,
mind.
they'd have been drawn by Silvestri.
Right.
You're right, Craig. I think this is the only time he's drawn Cyberforce, and I think it's the only time he's drawn Pit.
Yeah.
Well, he drew Arm. Does that count?
No. It's
Nah.
Pit's brother.
Can't say that I count it. Can't say that I count it. How about this ad for?
Hey, yeah, Action Zone, bringing it back.
Skeleton Warriors.
Skeleton.
Is that what
Warriors.
that first picture is?
Yes.
Skeleton Warriors.
The CBS Action Zone?
So I watched all of these, I believe, because I watched a lot of CBS cartoons because Ninja Turtles was on it.
So you're telling us you got blasted?
I did. I totally got blasted by Wildcats.
Jim Lee blasted you?
It's okay. So here's a stupid thing. I saw some of the Dragon cartoon when I was a kid, and for some reason, I think it's because Wildcats was on CBS. I associated Savage Dragon cartoon with CBS, even though it was on USA.
USA, baby.
So I find it funny that they're advertising the Action Zone here, when in very soon, Savage Dragon is going to be on USA.
Well, it's probably just Image.
Yeah, I mean it's Wildcats, so that's probably the link there.
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school at this point.
I was maybe not quite a freshman.
What was this?
I
This
was-
was 19. What year was this? 1994.
94.
December 94. I would have
Eighth
been
grade.
11 years old. Yep, I was definitely still watching cartoons. Granted, I still watch cartoons, so really it doesn't say much.
You get blasted in a different way these days.
I do. Blast here, blast there, everywhere.
I think these guys are cool in this panel. I think they look kick ass.
Oh, Rock, you're so cool, Rock. You're my
He does look
favorite.
cool. And you see Rock doing the same thing Rapture's doing, where he's breaking the panel border.
Oh, you're right.
Again,
that's-
not a thing you see a ton.
I don't think he does that at all anymore.
This is also before, I don't know where Feasel comes from, but he's not here.
Yeah, I don't see Feasel. He's not introduced it by Dragon either.
We do finally see what Beast Boy's all about.
Beast Boy, who is an awesome visual and yet somehow a joke.
Yep.
Like, just a
Well-
great visual, dude.
I think the idea is that he might be a great visual, but he weighs about 10 pounds, which is the problem.
His little face, so weird and gross.
That's what I like about it. It's just like all small.
I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
Putting the splash of Dragon, like having beat them all up, on a right hand page, probably wasn't ideal. Although
Why
probably,
so?
well, it seems like a thing you want to turn the page to.
Yeah, and be like, oh, he took care of them.
Oh wow,
Well,
that was quick.
Here's the thing: it's double page spread. Like you're seeing Frank, like getting just fucking blasted through a pane of glass. By the way, love to use it anytime you can. Defenestrated. He's getting defenestrated, and then fucking like kind of to me it works because your brain takes in both pages. It's like you flip it and it's like, oh shit, Frank. Oh fuck.
Oh yeah. I guess you could see it as like everything's gone wrong.
I also thought I was gonna flip the page and see Beast Boy like flying through the air, but I guess that was in a
That was
issue,
right?
right?
Yeah, I would thought the same thing too. That is actually a much later event. I can't remember who hits him either. I don't think it's Dragon, but
that is a vascular dragon.
Raven with the words today, man.
he's also he's oddly calm, considering he's been all feral earlier.
It's because he knows he's got no challengers.
I feel bad for Rock and Shrew getting jobbed out like this.
Big time, dude. They got the one panel Inferno defeat. Fucking flip the page and they lose. Can you guys help me out? I don't quite understand what Dragon's doing with the sequence behind Alex's legs. Is he grabbing the bullet? Like, what's happening here?
I thought she was just shooting his shoulder and it was like showing no damage.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you mention it, his hand is there. Maybe he's just like slightly rubbing himself to show.
That's
like
what
he's,
I thought.
Like,
but I don't
like
know.
white. I don't know. I could have swore it was just she shot him in the shoulder and it did no damage, which is why she says crap.
I guess his hand kind of ruins the effect for me. It's like,
Yeah.
what's his hand doing there? You know?
Exactly.
But I do think that's what Eric's conveying, because like exactly where she shoots him, there's a big hole with just clean flesh, and so it's like, well, didn't do shit.
I don't ever understand. Like, bullets don't penetrate him, but Dart can like shoot stars from his like little glove shooter.
Oh, Craig, I've been over this many times about the vulnerability of sharp objects and super tough characters.
It's Kevlar vest.
It looks good, I suppose, is the answer.
He literally wrote in a letter. He said his toughness is like a Kevlar vest. It can block a bullet, but if a sharp knife is pressed into it, it will pierce right through.
Mm.
And so that's the Kevlar vest logic that defines Dragon's vulnerability. You'd shoot him and he's fine. You shoot little stars, ninja stars at him, they're going to just stab right in.
When you think about it, Star is a weird character.
Yeah, he is.
He's Ninja Star Spider-Man.
He's Spider-Man-esque who shoots ninja stars with wrist-mounted.
You know,
cannons.
I can't wait to get back into his miniseries because I forgot everything about it.
Which is convenient because I never read it. So
I don't think it's that great or memorable. I mean, obviously it's not memorable because I don't remember anything about it. But I can't wait to read it to see if there's like some extra things we learn or something. I feel like he's got more gadgets and stuff in it.
Did you guys ever throw a Ninja Star in real life?
I have not, no.
I've thrown a rubber one. I used to have like a toy one.
So, like, I had, a psycho in the 80s who was, like, real big into Kung Fu, and I got to throw actual Ninja Stars as a child. Totally should not have, super irresponsible teenager. But I got to throw Ninja Stars, and it is one of the most exhilarating and badass things to throw this little metal disc that'll stab in a wall or a pumpkin or a tree or whatever. And it kind of makes the fact that Star chooses to shoot them out of like wrist guns. Hey man, I'm just saying you got to throw those Ninja Stars. So good.
Did they make a thok 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 sound?
They do. It's good. It's a really good thing.
Or thack.
Thack, thack, thack. Thuck, 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 thack, 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 thack. They do not say splabouche.
Splabouche.
Welcome to the French show, splabouche. Suck on this, Skullface. It's just water. It's like, suck a water hose. Kind of a cool tangent that you wouldn't necessarily... I know it's not intentional, but the hose from Frank connects with rubble on the opposing page. That kind of makes it look like the hose is like coiling back around. I know. It's just the little things. I'm sorry.
It's the little things. Should be a song.
Yeah, just fucking losing. Like, people just beating his ass. How about this finale? Talk about things that don't age great.
What do you mean?
Those fruitcakes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it doesn't age well, but we're not supposed to like Mace. He's supposed to be.
Right.
Like, he's supposed to be a bad guy. He's supposed to be...
I mean, I'm pretty gay later. Right.
Well, there's that, absolutely. But I mean, earlier in the book, what's his name? Where'd it go? Was it? I could have swore somebody used the F word, but I can't remember who.
That's in Freak Force.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that in the future.
Yeah, that's Freak. That's because when I was reading Freak Force, I was like,
oh yeah.
Ooh, shit. Yeah. Different times.
I will say it is interesting how this issue ends because it feels like it just stops.
Yeah.
I mean, Mace arriving as a big splash, so it kind of has... But it's just the way the narration just kind of... Because the narration box is just another, oh, it's Mace, here's what his deal is, and then it just stops.
I'll say that I think the dialogue sells it a little bit better than the visual. Because the thing is the whole time he's talking about these people, he's like... Oh, this is Alex. I like her a lot. She's a really good friend. And then he's just like fucking burying her under bricks.
Dropping a building on her, yeah.
Right. And then you get to like Star here, or Mace here, and he's like, I'd really love to take down that son of a bitch. And it's like, you're kind of thinking to myself, oh shit, like, is he going to kill Mace?
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
how I took it.
It does in that, you're right. That detachment that you've been talking about this whole issue coming into play. Yeah, that makes sense.
It breaks right here. He's like, oh, I'd love to take down this son of a bitch. And so him and the Slug are like lined up mentally. And so I kind of like, the way I took it is kind of like, oh shit, well, Mace is in for like some real danger. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, here's the setup. This is the setup here. So Mace took down the Shrew when the Shrew was controlled by a Slug. Right. So for Mace to show up to take on Dragon, you're thinking, oh, well, this is how Dragon will get defeated and get the Slug off his neck, right? But then Dragon's like, little narration box is like, oh yeah, I can't wait to take this guy out. So you're kind of thinking, shit, maybe not. Who knows?
Well, I think that's it. Well, hold on a second. I got ahead of myself. We got some ads in the bag. So I had to do a quick check because I wanted to check and see if this Shadowhawk Vampirella crossover actually happened. And I did a check, and it did, in fact, come out. So that's real.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Harris Comics, who I guess... It's kind of a... Harris Comics... Wait, who is Harris Comics?
Vampirella, pretty much.
Yeah, Evil Ernie, right?
Okay. That's where Evil Ernie came from Harris, before going to Chaos?
I'm pretty sure.
Before Chaos.
And Lady Death, right?
Yeah, Evil Ernie and Lady Death are both from Brian Pulido. So, yeah. I think you're correct. Okay.
Well, anyway, I just wasn't sure if this had come out, but it did. So there's a Harris Comics issue and an Image Comics issue. I'm sure it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Guys, remember trading cards?
Yeah. They're back in Pog form.
Yes.
Is that what the... Because the Topps one... Oh, wait.
This is the Image Universe Founders series. It's not the Savage Dragon card set. I don't have any. I only ever collected Marvel cards, so I never even looked at these. So I got nothing to add, other than they exist.
Spawn looks weird. He's got really skinny legs.
I will say, I know this is like backwards, but I think Valentino's best Shadowhawk is a Shadowhawk where you can see his face.
Oh, you mean like in that Vampirella?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So
to me, I think he looks cooler.
So normally he would have like a shadowed face, right? It's just like a blank space.
It comes down into like a beak.
Huh. Yeah, I mean,
did you guys read any of the letters in this one?
Did not.
The only letter
I was just gonna say the opening is pretty funny.
Go ahead and tell us.
A couple of personal notes.
I didn't read it. Yeah.
And he's like, he says, a couple of personal notes. First to Mark, whatever. Sorry, I don't know what that's about. And then it says, second to Jeff Ives. Yes, the scene in issue 14 was similar to the last couple of pages in 9. That's like the Rapture side boob. Like in 9, his hand grows.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
She's gasping, and then we just talked about 14 earlier. But he said, sorry your dad got bent out of shape about it. Perhaps this wholesome issue will be more to his liking. So he actually wrote like a little personal note to this kid.
The only thing I was going to say that really stood out to me is there is a letter writer named Chris West whose whole address is provided. And hilariously, he asks if Dragon is a Republican or a Democrat. And Eric's like, Democrat. I was like, oh, dude, the future of that. Yeah, that was the real standout for me.
Yeah, his whole address. That's kind of funny.
Everything. Like, there it is. You could Google it. Now, mind you, Google Maps didn't exist at this point. But, like, you could Google it and be like, oh, yeah, it's where Chris lived. Hi, Chris West.
One of the questions is, will we ever see the dragon eating? Besides that guy's tongue in issue 12.
Oh, it's also, I will say that it's funny the way his attitude changed towards TV. There was a letter, I forget which one it was in, this one or the other one, but there was a letter where somebody's bitching about the cartoon sucking because it's not very adult. They're like, oh, they made it lame. And Eric's like, yeah, well, but it exposes people to the character. He's like, and it can help really create new fans. And he's like, I'm thinking about going forward with like some direct-to-video animation or something. And I'm just laughing because I'm thinking, no, he's not. He completely changed his mind.
Well, I think it probably all depended on the reception of the cartoon, and the cartoon got cut short, so I don't know. Who knows?
I'm just saying it changed his tune big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like his tune changed big time on TV. There was a world where we could have had a direct-to-video Savage Dragon animation.
That was pretty cool.
For you whippersnappers out there, all that is just like 3 or 4 episodes of just higher quality animation. That's all it would have been. The direct-to-video thing isn't really a thing these days.
It's more like, well, isn't it like direct to like Netflix or something, or?
Yeah, a lot of it goes direct to streaming.
Amazon.
I mean, the only direct to actual physical media that I'm aware of are those DC animated movies that come out about once a month.
Well, here's the thing. Help me out here. This is what I'm trying to get them to, or get listeners to. Yeah, we associate direct to video with low quality on live action. It's kind of like a failing. It's like, oh, this wasn't good enough for the theaters.
Yeah, okay.
But here's the thing is, in terms of animation, if you're direct to video animation, you have more budget because you're doing less animation.
Yeah.
So typically, what I'm saying is, you know how the Savage Dragon cartoon show had that really kick-ass high-quality TV intro?
Right.
And then the show was like, the dragon. So it's like, I was just saying, imagine a world where we got a direct-to-video Savage Dragon, 3-4 episodes, all the quality of the intro.
Yeah, could have been.
Could have been. That's all
Could
I'm
have
saying.
been. I would have been way into that.
Yeah, I would have been into a Savage Dragon direct-to-video. Big time. So you guys got any other thoughts?
No, I got no more thoughts on these issues. I mean, the Possessed story is going to continue, I think, for at least one more issue, if not a few more. This whole section of this early Dragon stuff is phenomenal, and I'm really looking forward to getting to more of it.
Same. I love it so much because a lot of it apparently was way more gone from my mind than I thought. And I know that I read this stuff because I remember Frank crashing that bus in the Skullface like it was yesterday. But then the Lurch fight, I just completely, it was gone 100%. So it's like, yeah, this has been a treat going back over these issues with you guys.
Sweet. Well, I think we should wrap this up then.
Join us next time, dear listeners, if we going to be doing more Savage FINcast Retro for you. And, of course, if you have any kind of feedback or anything you want to shoot our way, that's savagefincast@gmail.com.
Correct.
That's
Beautiful.
right.
We'd love to hear from you guys. All right. Thanks for chatting Savage Dragon with me, Craig, Jim. Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay awesome.
Thank you.
Meow.